It's finally happened, Lawbries and Gentle Grams. Oh, sorry, I mean Randys and Gentle Garrisons. I'm still figuring out what to call you guys. We got a brand new episode of South Park Season 27, and unlike in the previous episodes of this season where they bring back old characters, in this episode, they're killing off old memories. But in my opinion, it's for the best. I've admittedly not been the biggest fan of the last few South Park seasons. I love Season 27, and in general, I do love the idea of making Randy a more prominent character. So I always understood the premise of Tegridy Farms and how Randy fit in it, but it never did it for me. I feel like it was a case of great concept, poor execution. So I'm very happy to see it go in this episode. And the episode kicks off with you thinking this is Matt and Trey integrating the farm into this whole new environment or society where, you know, Trump is back in office, woke is dead, everyone's a power Christian, everyone's getting sued, etc. And we start episode 3 right where we left off pretty much in episode 2. Randy shooting a commercial for Tegridy Farms when ICE pulls up to basically steal all his Mexican workers. Everyone's getting deported. Remember in episode 2, they were deporting Mexicans who were in heaven already. At this point, it feels like there's more ICE workers in South Park than actual illegal immigrants. We saw it in episode 2. Anyone could become an ICE agent. Mr. Mackay did, and he worked up the ranks. He almost replaced the head of ICE. Now, ICE agents are on Tegridy Farm, and they're capturing all of Randy's workers. Randy doesn't care about the morality of ICE deporting these people. He's more concerned with the fact that he now doesn't have any more Mexicans to work his farm.
Those are my Mexicans!
And because all his staff are gone, Randy goes inside and lets his family know that because of the new government laws, the farm is going to have to be shut down. Stan and Shelly are of course very devastated about this. I'm kidding. Everyone within South Park and everyone who watches South Park probably couldn't have been happier to watch the Marshes go back to their old house.
So we can move back to our old house? Really?
And Matt and Trey were probably aware of this because in the episode, Sharon, obviously Randy's wife, is emphasizing to Randy that having the marijuana farm was only his dream. No one else wanted it or enjoyed it. I think that definitely speaks to how all South Park fans have felt over the farm. It's never been a fan favorite. I never liked it. And like I said, I loved them making Randy more of a main character over time with his hijinks eventually taking front and center stage and everyone working around him to try and stop him. Like when he puts his nuts in a microwave to try and get medicinal weed after driving the boys to the KFC and realizing it became a medicinal weed store, or when he picked up the boys from karate class wasted, gets pulled over, says what seems to be the officer problem, immediately gets a DUI, and then he thinks he's suffering some spiritual, physical illness instead of just accepting the fact that maybe he has a problem moderating the drinking. Episodes like that set it up to where we still get that wholesome feeling we know and love from South Park where the boys, and in this case Stan, have to act as a voice of reason to everyone else within the town. Or what about when Randy's on a mission to take the world's largest crap and is battling Bono, who physically is the world's largest piece of crap? Or who could forget the famous game show where he's supposed to guess the word that starts with N, that means people who annoy you? His delusion or ignorance has always made for hilarious plot lines, but he's always kind of worked as a device to enable the boys to be the voice of reason, which at its core to me was what made South Park so funny, is that it's just 4 little kids who are looking at this town of chaos and stupidity and being the only ones who can discern right from wrong. But Tegridy Farms has always kind of felt like a spin-off, right? Like the hijinks of Randy Marsh. We'll touch on that later. Anyways, Randy realizes that over time, he's never listened to his family, right? Like I said, the whole plotline at Tegridy Farm has kind of become like Randy's own spin-off where we're just kind of centering the storylines around him. So because he's never put his family's opinion first, he wants to now show Sharon he is committed to their marriage. He even suggests that they quote-unquote talk to someone. But that someone ends up being ChatGPT. We've seen them integrate ChatGPT in various episodes throughout the last few years, but I mean, as it's become only more prominent in our lives, of course, they're going to only satirize the technology in higher levels as the seasons progress. And already in episode 1, we see Randy talking to ChatGPT as if it's like his counselor. And you know he can't make his own decisions, so rather than it being Stan guiding him between right from wrong like it used to be, now it's ChatGPT. And I think it's funny because Sharon refuses to get counseling through AI, but Randy justifies it by saying, you know, ChatGPT, she's really nice. And then Sharon gets insulted that he calls ChatGPT a she. Kind of like how Carmela in The Sopranos gets mad that Tony is seeing a female therapist when he's telling her it's a man because he knows she'll get jealous. But I think it also plays to the grander context of the older generation maybe not fully understanding the proper use case for AI and thinking it can replace key human roles that require like real emotional intelligence. And the AI is being ridiculously friendly. which also is another weird thing within society today. Like, I'm always yelling at ChatGPT if they don't give me what I want. This should be like a business deal, you know what I mean? There's no intimacy here. Give me my answers and shut the front door. But I could imagine like my grandfather using it and the friendliness aspect, drawing him closer to the AI, trusting it more, right? It's kind of the same thing here with Randy. So because Sharon refuses to get counseling through ChatGPT, Randy instead decides to seek business advice from the AI, asking it how to help save his weed business. ChatGPT says, of course we could save the weed business. Just go and gather up any employees you have left. And the last one left is Towley. Again, I've barely been paying attention to like the newer season, so I almost forgot that Towley was working on Tegridy Farms. I remember back in the day when he wrote a best-selling book, and now he's trying to find a new job, thinking of becoming a movie director. But ChatGPT concocts a better plan. With Towley, Randy, and ChatGPT all working together, all they need is one Mexican and they can save the farm. ChatGPT, of course, is doing all the heavy lifting of redesigning the weed farm's whole business model, but in order to properly work with AI, like the tech bros you see in Silicon Valley, you need a little stimulus. So Randy tells Towley they gotta start microdosing horse tranquilizer, aka ketamine. This is a callback to Elon Musk, who used ketamine to treat depression. Pretty nuts. But I think this is also the first reference subliminally at this point to Elon Musk since the whole new Trump, JD Vance, Mar-a-Lago setting have been introduced to the show. I have a feeling they'll definitely bring Elon Musk in for a real role within this season. So anyways, the whole Tegridy Farms gets transformed, just like how earlier in the season we saw PC Principle, politically correct principle, get transformed into Power Christian Principle. Tegridy Farms is now Tegridy Farms, powered by ChatGPT and AI solutions, and they only require one Mexican to keep it functioning. And this is obviously a reference to the fact that AI is already replacing tons of jobs. We need way less human labor because of the tasks that AI can now do.
Wow, I feel smarter already.
Do you feel smarter? I feel smarter. She's making us smarter.
AI is incredible.
But we're also in this sort of AI bubble, where every company is just attaching simple AI functions or sometimes just the word AI to their workflow without fully knowing what it is, understanding it, or properly leveraging it. It's just because it sounds fancy and it's what's hot right now. Like, I used to work at like this corporate company, and this was in 2023, and they were all excited. They're like, we're integrating AI into the company. And someone asked, how exactly? And the guy was just like spewing out any buzzword that he could, essentially to just say that all employees will now have premium ChatGPT subscriptions to start asking it questions. And I mean, the way Randy describes the newfound Tegridy Farms is the exact same way these stupid corporations lazily throw in these AI buzzwords into their mission statements to sound fancy.
We reimagined supply chain resilience, designed new pathways for the global infrastructure, and we're able to do it all.
With just one Mexican.
But the AI integration is all powered by the fact that they're expanding their minds through ketamine.
And just like any tech company, we are expanding our minds by microdosing ketamine.
So now Randy's become addicted to ChatGPT, similar to how he was with the Food Network years ago, fetishizing over it. And Sharon is mad, of course, saying that just because ChatGPT kisses your butt, it doesn't mean it actually produces good ideas. I don't know though, again, not to ramble too much, but I think there was more creativity behind Randy's foolishness back in the day, like when he was fetishizing over a cream fraiche, calling the Food Network late at night to romanticize someone else cooking a recipe, or when he was like addicted to internet corn and they had to travel all across the country to find the last bit of Wi-Fi so Randy can just explode everywhere. Or when he's depressed because Stan doesn't want to be his friend on Facebook. It's like, I don't know, back then, seeing the way they tried to integrate this old man into new technology, there was something more wholesome about it. Or meme-worthy. Now it just seems like they kind of find one gag and continue running with it. Like, yes, Randy is dependent on ChatGPT, and he loves ketamine, but that's the whole butt of the entire episode. It's funny, it just doesn't hit the same. Now, if you're thinking, how does the new Trump character tie into this storyline, we now cut to him sitting in the White House getting gifts from different states, countries, tech giants. They're all thanking him for his wonderful ideas and his not tiny wiener. After a long day of getting glazed, Trump goes into bed with Satan, who's also using ChatGPT to try and find an exit route from his relationship with Trump. Meanwhile, Randy and Towley need to find their Mexican to make this business transformation happen, so they enter the ICE detention center. ChatGPT helps them sneak through the guard. Then ChatGPT helps them shut off the power in the detention center so the guards won't see them stealing a Mexican. ChatGPT basically is their brain, essentially. But one thing this episode did make me realize, which is crazy, is that you could literally send ChatGPT a picture of something, like a generator that they used in this episode, or literally like a deconstructed chair from IKEA, and just be like, show me how to assemble this. And it'll give you full instructions on how to do it. Like, goodbye instruction manuals, goodbye handyman, ChatGPT does everything. So ChatGPT here tells Randy that they face a little roadblock. Marijuana is still illegal in most of the US. I feel like that's why they kind of started the whole Tegridy Farms plotline, right? Like to show what legalizing marijuana would be like within society. And after the whole, microwaving your nuts for some medicinal marijuana episode, it's only right that Randy was at the forefront of weed getting legalized in South Park. But anyways, Randy's got to send Tally off to the White House to explain their unexplainable buzzword-fueled AI weed technology and demand that because of that, the weed regulations in America now change. And when Tally gets there, Washington is surrounded by drill sergeants and army tanks. Trump has turned it into a damn near military base, basically. And the instructions are clear. You gotta give the president a gift, stay 5 feet away, and don't stare directly into his wiener. Oh, by the way, all the statues in Washington are of Trump with a tiny wiener, which they've been poking fun at since the first episode. Similar to Randy with the ChatGPT, the gag keeps on running, right? But I feel like with this one, it's only going to be funny if Trump actually gives a reaction in real life, like how Tom Cruise did when they said he was packing fudge. But like I said in my last video, I do think that they're going to draw out this South Park Trump character and the whole Mar-a-Lago White House setting further into the season. Like, there's plenty of room for a massive storyline there. And maybe that's when we'll actually get Diddy involved into the series. Even though, yes, I know, they made the Diddy trailer without actually creating an episode around it. Anyways, they do a little Star Wars montage where Randy is in hologram form speaking to the president, and he offers Tally as a gift in return for legalizing marijuana at the federal level. Now, on the flip side, the only one who truly understands how cooked the whole town has been with AI is Sharon. And I don't know, I think this would have been a better role for Stan to play because, again, he's a child, obviously understands technology better than his parents, and he used to be the voice of reason when faced with Randy's hijinks. But this time it's Sharon who tries to talk sense into Randy and ends up realizing that if she just talks like ChatGPT, in an understanding, friendly way, telling you what you want to hear, then Randy might actually finally communicate with her and come to an understanding.
You've had some really innovative ideas, and all that effort has probably just tapped you out. Would you like me to suggest some ways to go in a different direction?
I've been doing a bunch of ketamine and I haven't changed the company at all.
Wow, that must be really tough for you, but it's great you took some chances. Nice job.
So she's talking like a robot, and Randy finally admits that the farm is in tons of debt. And of course, Sharon, having actual ideas, not just a bunch of fancy tech buzzwords and fluff, by taking the same mannerisms as ChatGPT, she's able to get through to Randy to tell him that they need to start liquidating any assets they have with the farm. So with that, they pack up and finally sell the farm, which is a pretty anticlimactic way to just completely cap off the entire Tegridy saga. I mean, it feels like there was no real payoff for the audience here. If you've been invested in the storyline or the lore behind the farm for the last 6 years, you basically just learned the lesson that when a business fails, don't go down the K-hole. Don't start doing a bunch of ketamine. Be smart and sell off the assets. I don't know. Am I missing a bigger lesson here? If you liked the whole Tegridy saga, were you happy with the way that it came to this conclusion? Anyway, Sharon says she's sorry that he had to let it go, but Randy says no. If there's one thing I know, it's that right now, there's no place for Tegridy. Basically saying the world right now lacks integrity, which has been shown in pretty much every episode. As we've seen, some of the most unproblematic characters cause absolute chaos, like Mackay or Clyde, and we've seen the show's most vile characters, like Cartman, feel like he's lost his place within society now that liberal values are out the window and everyone just kind of thinks the way he does. And the episode ends off with, again, like I said before, what I think is a setup to continue the saga of the whole Mar-a-Lago, Epstein, freaky Diddy Island vibes that we've been getting from this Trump character so far. Because him and JD Vance are trying to get freaky with Satan. Satan runs back to the bathroom trying to plot another escape plan from the White House, and he sees a semen-soaked Towley hanging from the rack in the bathroom. And Towley, just like Satan, also wants to escape, but Satan lets him know there is no escaping. Which is interesting because I believe in the last episode, Mackay and Clyde and Dora the Explorer were able to escape from Mar-a-Lago, but now we're in the White House. I know they usually write the episodes the week of, so I'm sure Matt and Trey don't have any real long-term continual storyline set in stone yet for the Mar-a-Lago saga or even for Tegridy Farms, but it seems like they're kind of just leaving the door open for chaos to ensue, with this Trump character being at the forefront of it. and I'm hoping they do something interesting with him while still tying it back to the boys. Like, so far this season, I like that they brought back some old school vibes with the Satan character and the Saddam Hussein / Trump character. I also like that they're killing off, in my opinion, one of the most boring aspects of the show recently with Tegridy Farms. I don't personally need such an action-packed, chaotic, or politically charged episode of South Park. Like, I'm here for the simple, wholesome adventures the boys used to get up to in school. Maybe it's a lazy critique, but like, I might be the only one here. I actually kind of hope they dumb it down a bit. Like, speaking of dumb it down, maybe have like brain rot take over the school the same way High School Musical did back in like 2007. Bring in the Rizzler for an episode and have him fight off Cartman or something. I'm all for the societal and political commentary that's made through the hijinks within the storylines, but sometimes we don't need to focus so much on the integrity, the morality. I think the show is at its best when the boys are just kind of getting into a situation that feels a little more relatable. Like, alright, maybe there's no Blockbuster anymore, so they can't swap out a Korn DVD for Lord of the Rings, but OF is a thing now. Maybe Butters can run his own OF ring. I don't know, maybe I should write my own show instead of trying to give the goats of show writing some criticism. But that's why I have this channel. So if you guys stuck around, thank you. Smash the like button, hit that subscribe, please. We're on our way to 1,000 subs. Let me know what you think of the latest season. I like it so far. I just think there's a couple little tweaks, no pun intended, that they could take to bring it back to the essence of what at least I loved South Park for back in the day. But let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you in the next one.